Another day, another part of Pirate Software's life gets exposed as made up and completely fabricated. Now, I don't know if most of you know about this, because no one ever speaks about this. Pirate Software has never mentioned this, but this may be news to you. Did you know that Pirate Software worked at Blizzard for 7 years? Yes, I know no one ever talks about this, but maybe there is a pretty good chance that that's not even true.
If you could just kind of give your name and then just kind of your experience with Twitch and just kind of your experience with Pirate, everything in between that you think would be relevant to what we're going to talk
This is Pirate Software's ex roommate. And yes, I'm also surprised.
about today.
Hi, my name's Cynthia Hall. I go by Ludiana online. I am a lifelong artisan cosplayer. I worked for 5 years at Blizzard and then 8 years at Twitch. And I happen to work with Pirate Software at Blizzard as his wrangler on Diablo 3.
Really quick, number one, you share a last name.
Wrangler.
But number two, Wrangler. So what is that? What does that mean to be a Wrangler for someone during? So you said it was during Diablo 3 testing?
Yes. Basically, what happened is we share the same last name. That's why I don't mind sharing my last name. When I joined the company, they literally thought that we were related.
Oh, jeez. So, wait. He's a Nepo baby. And his boss gives him a second layer of nepotism. Oh my god. This is maybe the first double Nepo baby in the history of the world. Now, that's something. That's something he should. Also, what the hell is with this pose? He is trying really hard to make it look like he even has a chin. Jesus.
Because I have a couple of years on him. So they thought that I was his older sister. And they thought that with me coming in, I could put.
Bro, by the way, again, this alone already completely throws out the window Pirate Software's lies about the fact that no one knew that his dad was one of the big shots, one of the original 10 at Blizzard. Because they have the same last name. I've made fun of this so much in the past. Yeah, sure. No one's gonna figure out that this guy has the same last name as this other guy. Yeah, sure. Of course, Jason.
Potentially handle him and he would be less of a problem if we were working together.
So-
this was a thing that I had to clarify like day one of me moving onto the team.
So this was the assumption was, oh, okay, they're siblings. She can kind of tune.
Yes. And he'll be less of a problem because we're related and I could go tell daddy.
That's really funny. With him,
Yes.
So, wait, now she just blatantly says it. So everyone knew that Pirate Software was the Big Shots kid. I mean, again, you need to be really stupid to actually not figure out that people can think that the same surnames are related, but you know.
so with this, him being a problem. Now, was that unique to Pirate, or is that just to speak to every new person coming into the company?
That was speaking to him. And it was not that he was an HR violation problem. Don't get me wrong. He's very charismatic. He is easy to get along with socially. However, he was very neglectful of actual work. He was hard to rein in. He was hard to get to focus on anything important. Like he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And it wasn't like he was a jerk about it. Like I don't
Does that sound like the exact characteristic of a Nepo baby, by the way? Yes? Yes.
want to misconstrue that at all. I'm sure everybody has seen his streams. Like he pulls off the personality, like he's nice to his coworkers.
Yeah.
He wanted to do what he wanted to do.
When we're talking about what's important for, let's say, for instance, the Diablo 3 testing, so what was the important stuff that he needed to take care of, and then what was he doing alternatively?
So I was also
By the way, in before the pirate tries to get this thing demonetized and removed from YouTube because this is breaking some kind of toss. Doxing. This is doxing. Oh my god, he's probably absolutely losing it right now over this.
the person who wrote all of the test cases. He was on the monsters team with me. So we're talking dealing with all the spawns in the game, all the boss testing, having to do all the smoke tests whenever there were new builds, that just end to end, make a character run through to skeleton king kill. Like that's just testing the builds. Whatever the task was for the day, it could just be spawning different monsters and testing their affixes to see how they perform. That easy. But he would just kind of create a character and idle in the client and read Reddit. That's literally what he did. He sat in front of me, and I was assigning the
No one's surprised that he's a Redditor through and blue in heart. Jesus.
tasks.
Uh,
So not only did I see the work he was not doing, I saw what he was doing instead the entire time.
Okay, so sorry, to clarify,
Yeah.
he was redditing instead of doing his job, which was essentially he instead of spawning in and just like running Skeleton King, which I know is like literally that first act, or just testing monster spawns, it was just him browsing Reddit.
Basically, because it was apparently too demanding of his time to
Now,
actually.
Based.
was this
Based.
immediate? Was this a gradual onset of more Redditor Thor coming out?
Constant.
Okay.
This was a constant, and it was to the point where in QA we had a maximum of 2 displays. Like that was just your kit. You had 2 displays. If you had 3, it was because you had a Mac for testing. That's it. He requested a 3rd display because he claimed he needed it for his bots when he started doing some automation testing. He just wanted it to have the extra space for Reddit, YouTube, mail. He just wanted the extra space.
Okay. Totally
I
fair.
wish I was
Oh.
Mimi. I am a huge slack ass, and I completely understand like the ADHD mentality of I just need stuff.
By the way, here we also have full confirmation that he was just a QA guy. He never did anything important. And this is confirmation of the theory that a lot of people have brought up, by the way, about Pirate Software. Because I never did this video, but I have looked at his LinkedIn. He tries really, really hard to make his LinkedIn look professional. Like he's someone who fucking crawled up to let me didn't. Every position in Blizzard that he had roughly for about only a year, sometimes even less. So, again, it's just the fact that there's a Nepo baby. He sucks at everything, so let's just shuffle him to different workstations to see what happens. And after a year where people are fed up with him, let's just shuffle him on to the next one. That is Pirate Software's whole thing.
And I also I vibe code. Like I get it. If you're compiling, if you're running bots, you probably want to do other stuff while something is running and just kind of observe the console. I get it. I know how these things work. But I'm saying like this dude was legit just ignoring the tasks at hand. We would sit like with the window divider between us. I would sit there watching my buddy, and he would watch me, and we would just be sitting there waiting for Jason to actually participate in the team tasks that we had been assigned.
So why weren't you correcting it? Like if this was the entire way, like I would get fired if I was doing something like that.
Yeah. So that is the funny thing. I brought this up to my specialist who sat behind me. So it was specialist, me, Thor. He said, well, you could try to escalate it, but no one's going to do anything because I've tried to report it before. So I talked to my manager and I talked to one of the departments.
Wow! Also, yes, by the way, it's almost like HR is not there in companies to protect you, the worker, but it's there to protect the company and the people high in power. So, by the way, yes, this is a real thing that happens in every HR thing. When you can report Bill Bob Billiam the Bill Bill, how many times you want about him slacking off at the job? That's fine. HR is gonna clap him if he's nobody. Okay? If he's just an average dude, you can report him for not inviting you to his wedding even though you don't even know him. Okay? And he's gonna get clapped because HR is a bunch of losers. But the moment Bill Bob Billiam has any connections to the top, HR is instantaneously gonna just put that report through the guy at the top who knows him. That's how these things work, okay? HR is not there to protect you. HR is to make the life of the big boys easy. And that's a big part.
Like I talked to the manager over the project. And
by the way, I literally have dealt with this. I actually have told this story before. When I was working at the government, there was one new guy that was put in our department, and my boss is like, yeah, you're gonna have to teach him. Let's see if he can do anything. I'm like, wait, he doesn't know how to do anything? And she's like, MILF boss, by the way. We call her MILF boss. If you do not know these stories. And she's like, yeah, he's like not even a relative of someone at the board, but he's like something at the he's an acquaintance of a person of the board member who has his father as a friend or something like that. And that's it, just untouchable. He gets it. That's nepotism. That's how nepotism works in the most direct ways. And you can't do anything about it. I go to him, I fucking explain him shit, and it's if you're good at finance, if you're good at analytical stuff, it takes you literally 3 fucking minutes to figure out if a person is completely dense or not. If they have even a slight spark for this. That guy, complete waste of oxygen. 5 minutes in, I'm like, I'm going to back to Boss Mill because she looks hot and I just want to look at her. I'm like sitting there with her. Yeah, he sucks. He sucks. Well, can you not really just like fucking fire him? No, he's staying. That's it. This is how these things work, and everyone knows it.
And I was essentially told that no one is going to do anything because of who he is.
Yep.
And this has nothing to do with Joey Ray directly. Like, I want to make this very clear. I'm also friends with Joey Ray. Like, he is a mutual friend.
And yes, this is also a part. It's not even like that guy's probably saying, "Oh, you can't fucking treat my son even slightly poorly." I'm talking about Pirate Software here. It's the fact that no one just wants to risk one of the most influential people in the company maybe looking poorly at you. Because that tends to end badly. So, it's not like his dad actually... I don't know this, but his dad doesn't even need to just try to protect him or anything. People below who have brains just know that, yeah, we're not even gonna try anything because I don't want to be the guy who complains about the guy who can fire me in 3 milliseconds that his son is retarded. It's dead in the water.
Friend of friends. Okay, so like I've had direct interactions. I know him well enough to say he would absolutely not do anything to help Jason. Like, he is not somebody who spoke to get him rehired. But here's how nepotism actually works, which Jason also doesn't understand. It does not
She's gonna tell the exact same thing I did.
not look good on your future at Blizzard if you mess with an executive's son. Period. Everybody knows who Jason is. If you write him up, if you fire him for misconduct or otherwise, people are going to know you did it. They're not going to know that anything was actually going on. They're just going to know you were.
Also, this is, again, slightly incorrect. You would never get him fired. You can report him, but the people who are going to be firing him are not you. So, one thing is reporting someone, the other thing is getting him fired. There's a difference there. So, you can do whatever you want, but the people on top are not going to do anything.
The guy that fired Joey Ray's son, and your career is pretty much toast because everybody in the games industry knows each other too. So who's going to actually do anything because Jason's doing nothing? Nobody. They're just going to let him do what he's going to do. And that's exactly what I was told. And that's exactly why Jason was allowed to form his hacks team, which is actually just exploits testing. He was allowed to do whatever he wanted to do because nobody would course correct him.
Okay. Now what year was this when he came on for the Diablo 3? Was this the first time he was hired in?
This was when he came back, I believe. This was, I think, 2011.
2011. Okay, so this is...
Oh, by the way, how did my interaction with the Nepo baby end? Well, everyone just kind of decided on their own to kind of ignore the guy and do nothing. He was roughly there for 2 weeks, after which one day he was just magically not there. I'm asking Boss Mill, wait, where's that guy? And she's like, oh, he's just not here anymore. I didn't even know anything about it. They literally told me nothing. He's just not here anymore. And guess where he is now? In a different company, in a twice higher position that does kind of the same thing that guy sucks at. That's how nepotism works, boys. I want to be a Nepo baby so bad. I'm not gonna lie, boys. Why wasn't I born to multi-billionaire parents? Like, every day I cry myself to sleep thinking this.
The second round of coming in, you said, to the best of your knowledge, it was as soon as he got hired back in, he was acting exactly like that. He was not...
Yeah.
Okay. With that knowledge, I also just kind of want to touch on, so you say that he kind of created that exploitation team, not because there was a requirement for it, but just because he would not be course corrected to do anything else. And the reason I kind of bring this up, I'm not trying to make Thor look bad intentionally, but I'm targeting the way that you had brought this up about him being and creating that exploit team. It wasn't because he was the best to do it, it's because he's the one that wanted to do it.
My understanding is it's what he wanted to do, and he presented himself as the best candidate to do it. And I am not going to pretend to know the inner workings of how
Oh.
it came to be because I was not part of those conversations at all. So I don't know if he actually formed the team or if the QA managers formed the team, including him. It's weird calling it a hacks team. It's really not.
This is also a thing that happens. Not only are Nepo babies protected from shit like this, but, well, the same way that you lose points for being bad and mean to them, you gain points by being good to them. You're the one who knows how to play ball. And again, being in the government, being anywhere in a high position is like, again, I'm amazing at finances. 99.9% of people out of financial school know more about, deltas, lambdas, and all of that bullshit than me. Okay? I'm not even close. But you know what I'm good at? Talking. People like me. And that's the most important thing. Okay? Being good at finance, this is the biggest secret anyone's ever going to tell you, is not actually understanding numbers. Understanding numbers gets you nowhere. You need to have the ability to convince people that are higher than you, that have bigger egos than you, that what you are saying is not stupid, in fact, it's right, and it should be done. That's what makes you great.
Hacking. Like, it is a focused automation testing team. That's really what it was.
Use
like,
bots to
focused on
test the
exploits.
reported bugs and exploits.
Yeah, it was automation testing.
Okay. With that, I think we got a good understanding of what that was. I've kind of touched on that nepotism bit myself too, and was like, well, it's
Yeah.
not just, oh, his dad, is like up here. It's like, well, it's not that. It's a very, you don't see it, you feel it. That's it. And the person who's, getting it is not going to notice that. So it's interesting. I'm glad we got a bit more insight on that. You guys knew each other clearly as coworkers. Was there anything like, did you guys spend time playing video games or anything like that?
Oh yeah, geez. A couple things. So video games. There was actually a charity event on campus. It's an Extra Life charity that every year as Team Zerg, unofficially, Blizzard would put together our own team for donations to raise money for Children's Hospital of Orange County. And we would play games on campus for 24 hours straight. Pirate just happened to participate in this. I was on his team for a league tournament, and he screamed at our team for apparently not gearing correctly to counter the other team because we were just that bad when it's not like we were losing so severely because we all played league regularly. It was not that big of a deal, and we're all sleep deprived. It was very early in the morning after an overnight of playing games, and we're like, seriously, dude, you are raging at everybody, like our entire team. He was just yelling across the floor at everybody.
It's a charity event, correct?
It was a children's charity event. And we're like, wow, we all play League, but man, like we usually only experience this stuff in League. Most of us like played League with each other at work, but this was our first time actually playing with him, especially at work, so that was a whole new experience, and the last time literally any of us played any games with him. And ironically, I actually have something here that I wanted to show you. So they give us like these little cards whenever we do cool things at Blizzard.
What the hell
And
is
this was
this?
related to the charity event. That was like thanking me for playing nice with my coworkers. And I'm like, oh wow, he got one of these too. So yeah, I was kind of bored when I was going through some of my work stuff. Before that had happened, and
That's
not
so
too long
good.
after he had joined the team, I had a roommate who urgently had to move out. She had a family emergency. She
Sure.
could no longer like stay in the apartment. And I was like, that's cool. I'll find another roommate. Panicking. Pirate joined the team, and he apparently urgently needed to move out of his dad's house for some reason. So, anyways, I was like, "Hey, so I barely know
Oh
you," and of
boy.
course, I asked some people around, like, "So is this guy?"
Okay, she's definitely not gonna talk about anything actual. But okay, let's be completely real, boys. We all know Pirate most likely would try something. It just makes sense, okay? Stop lying. You know this all makes somehow sense. So I wonder if there's gonna be anything about that.
Like a psycho? Like, is this something reasonable? Is he gonna trash my place if I ask him, like, if he wants to rent this room from me? Because it was a full, like, bedroom plus his own private bathroom. Like, it was basically a split apartment setup. So it was ideal for renting and sharing. Like, it wouldn't have been weird with Nicole coming over or anything. Like, it would have been fine. And I knew Nicole as well, and she was perfectly normal human being.
Nicole
So
being, sorry, who?
Nicole, I believe, is the girl he ended up marrying.
Okay.
Like his
That he
ex.
cheated
Yeah.
on.
Okay. Just to confirm, so the timeline events that
with a dude. That's a footy. Makes sense. I know. It is what it is.
charity thing happened a bit after, so you guys had already been rooming together, and then you did not know him prior to him going to work with you.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Cool.
Like, I barely knew who Joey Ray was at the time. Told Pirate, I'm like, hey, are you really looking to rent a place? Because I have this room open. So he ended up taking me up on the offer. He also had a cat, and I was like, cat non-destructive, right? Like, I have furniture and stuff because this is fully furnished. And he was like, yeah, totally non-destructive. I'm like, cool, because I love cats. I have no animals. Fine fit. Great. We're on the same team, same overtime schedule. Amazing.
So he ends up being your roommate. It sounds really good. Every bare minimum's met, not crazy girlfriend, a cat that he's saying is not destructive. How does that end up pooling out? How long were you guys roommates for?
It took days for him to start screaming at people on Eve overnight.
Eve Online. Eve Online.
Yes.
Okay.
The cat, that's totally.
Okay, do I need to explain the EVE Online story? So, Pirate Software at one point started his second thing, as far as I understand, after Second Life was EVE Online, where he was the leader of a guild. And there was this sector of space in EVE Online. It's a game about spaceships and controlling territories and things like that. And Pirate Software was the leader of a corporation, and he went into the new sector. The new sector was absolutely bugged. And Pirate Software just stayed there in a bugged sector, losing money, losing everything, fucking everything up because he just wanted to be there, okay? No fixes were made on Eve. He blamed the devs for not fixing it, and through the devs should fix their game. But still, Pirate Software knew that there's no fixes, there's no nothing, and he forcefully just decided to stay there, not move out anywhere else, but just stay there. It's hilarious.
Non-destructive, straight up destroyed one of the chairs within the first week. And because it was patent leather, like the polyurethane stuff, he offered to tape it up for me, not replace it, and also tried to make it out like the cat never did anything to the chair, even though it was like raked and like cheese.
Yep, I mean, who else? A person did that? Oh my god. Yep, this is Pirate Software.
Grated up.
The cat scratched the shit out of the chair. There's no
Scratched the shit out of the chair.
right. You can't do that any other way. Yeah.
Yeah. There was no way around it. Pretty much any time that I came home and went into the kitchen, all the dishes everywhere, like the pans, still food in them on the stove, shit everywhere, food countertops, everything everywhere. Like, it was not disgusting sty, but it was very just a fucking mess. Okay. And when you're working overtime, you just want to come home, make a quick meal or whatever, especially on weekends when you're not doing overtime. You don't want to have to clean up after your roommate to function in your own apartment. So it was just like trying to do gentle nudging, like, hey dude, could you like be a bit better about putting away leftovers and stuff, like trying to be diplomatic about the whole thing. And I'm like, the fucking combination of things, right? Like the not letting me sleep, the cat destruction, the mess of it all.
That was happening within the first week, all of these things that you're listing.
First week.
Okay, how
And,
long
like-
did this go on for?
Well, this made me more suspicious about what else was going on. And I'm not a privacy invader, but he had left the door open to his bathroom. And I just looked inside because it was in the hallway. It was like a hallway to go through to the
Oh shit, is it Asmongold tier dead rats?
bathroom and then his bedroom, which the door was closed, so I did not go in there. And then my bedroom. So I just turned on the hall light and I peeked in there, and the place was a fucking sty. He had never put up a shower curtain in the bathroom. There was
Well, who does that? Who does that? Shower curtain? Okay, listen, I don't mean to defend Pirate Software here, but lady, please. Shower curtains are, well, actually, they're for exactly kind of people like I imagine Pirate Software would be. But it's not a mistake to not use shower curtains. They're stupid. They're cumbersome, and they don't serve a real function. Shut up.
ashy stuff everywhere, like gray ash kind of looking spots everywhere, including in the shower, on the floors, on the
Oh, mold?
countertops. The toilet it had been a fucking week and I could not understand the state of things. Let me just say that I was very concerned. Okay. And the sum of it all, I was like, this is not going to work out.
Well, this is not really surprising. I kind of expected something like this because Pirate Software calls ferrets extremely hygienic creatures. Ferrets are cute, as are every animal. I would not, though, trust Pirate Software with a ferret. He's a furry and he likes ferrets, so I'm kind of worried about those animals. But in any case, ferrets stink like shit. They're not hygienic in the slightest. They're absolutely putrid and disgusting. They make us make a smell in a lot of things. Okay, so the fact that Pirate Software ironically calls them very hygienic animals, which is a blatant lie. Yeah, it makes sense that Pirate Software would be like that.
Guy. So I just had a talk with him and I was like, hey, look, this is not a thing between us because you're a cool dude. But with the cat, you said non-destructive, already destroyed a chair, this is not gonna work out. I'm pretty sure that's straight how I played it. But I'm like, the sum of all things, I do not need this apartment destroyed. It's my deposit, my name on this primarily because I was a primary resident, and I do not need destruction of property on my record or any of that. So I could not take that chance. He inelegantly took it as a all right, fine, I'll move out kind of thing. He did get out of there within the next month. He never paid me back for the chair, by the way. Never did anything about that. And when he finally did move
he put some scotch tape on it. What do you want?
out, I wish I had saved pictures of the state of his room. He had cleaned nothing, so I had to clean everything by hand. There was I don't know what on the walls in his bedroom, and you're just gonna have to take my word for this. I don't know if it was snot or something else, just wiped here and there on the walls, and
we all know what that. We all know
more of the random gray stuff, just spots and things. It's very clearly not smoke ash because there was no odor of it or anything.
That is just strange. That sounds like a cryptid.
It was very strange, right? It was disgusting. I was masked up and gloved up.
Oh boy!
For all of this because holy, gross. Lesson learned. Don't get guys as roommates, especially when you're a girl who gets the icks from this kind of thing.
So that's a lot of that personal stuff. No, I think that is relevant. I do think so. This was, what, 10 years ago now? 15?
Forever, yeah. It's quite some.
So I'm not, again, this isn't to dismiss that. That sounds absolutely horrific.
Okay, so that would put Pirate Software roughly in the age of 18, I think, or something like that. Which means, listen, I know she doesn't want to talk about that, but I am guaranteeing you Pirate Software did some moves on her. I'm not gonna lie, my boys, I fucking would. I'm not gonna lie, I fucking would, okay? It is what it is. But, in any case, yeah, there's probably stuff she's not saying because she definitely does not feel comfortable saying it. Oh boy.
This was some of that old stuff, but I really appreciate getting to hear it. If you have any information, whether it be even if you have text messages or emails or anything else to kind of corroborate that time, it'd be awesome. If you don't, that's, we're just taking your testimony as testimony.
I
And I think it's
believe it.
just good to know, have some of that context getting into it.
I'll send you over some of the screenshots that I also sent to some of my other coworkers, because like when all the pirate stuff like really started stirring, like we started sending stuff to each other. One of our other friends, he's another person that played League with Jason at one point. Apparently also got raged at. But this guy is a master troll. This guy was also one of my best friends. Would print out a photo of Edward Cullen's face and tape it to the bottom of Pirate's mouse, so that whenever he would come back to his desk, he would wiggle his mouse to try to wake his PC, and he just couldn't wake his PC. So he'd have to flip his mouse over and be greeted with Edward Cullen's face. And you could just hear him scream across the floor.
It's good to know. So this wasn't like, he swooned everybody with his charisma. Because, like, I'm not going to lie, like, the internet understands that. A lot of people are, he was in the good graces of most of the internet literally just a year ago. But you're saying, so even with that, and I think it makes sense based on his quote unquote work ethic or lack thereof, there were people that already were like, he was just kind of irritating.
And I feel like this is why a lot of people aren't really talking about him, because like there's several camps of us. Either people just legitimately didn't know him at the time, didn't care to know him, don't remember him, aren't even aware he exists at this time. He was on no one's radar. There's no reason for him to be on anyone's radar right now. They have no clue who he is. There's people like me who had to work directly with him and are just so raged that they don't want to talk about him. There are his few friends who like may speak positively about him, but we don't really hear anything from them. But then there's also the few people.
I don't think there are people that are going to speak positively about him. I don't think there really are. There's no way. Like, what kind of person? You need to very much be specifically benefiting from him to even keep Pirate Software around in your circles.
Who want to speak out, but they don't because they're afraid of the repercussions. And I feel like that's the majority of the people that I know too, because games industry is so
Okay, it's not even games industry. Pirate Software has a track record of trying to punish people.
small. A lot of people are still in games, so they don't want to talk about these things because, again, like they don't want things to come back to them.
Is it even a matter of, so does Jason's dad, does he have this like undying love and adoration for his son that is going to impact someone's work history? Is it just the fact that you would speak about someone's son?
No. So here's the thing about Joey Ray. I am not in his DMs at all about any of this because I respect him and I know, like, at least in the past, about how he's felt about this thing. His entire mentality has been, if you have a problem with Jason, take it up with Jason. Like, he doesn't want to deal with any of that. He's not the kind of person who's like gonna come to.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like, oh boy, I am tired of dealing with the shit that people constantly complain about me. I'm just gonna deal with him, not me. I don't want to be involved. Oh no.
His rescue.
That sounds like the healthiest way for nepotism to be dealt with. That sounds like, I mean, Joey Ray sounds like, yeah, you shouldn't be going to me because
it doesn't work though. It doesn't work.
That's how you propagate this. So I guess I was more asking, like, the people that shied away, is it simply because they knew that Thor was, the son of him? Or was it because, like, there were also consequences because he was, was he protecting Thor in any step? Or was it just the fact that they were, father and son?
A lot of people that aren't speaking up aren't doing it because they're afraid of Thor's followers, actually. They're afraid of internet repercussions and internet people.
I said this. Again, there's way too many. There has to be. I fully believe that there's somewhere a Discord server or something like that. Maybe it's honestly not even a Discord server. No, I'm not going to say that. There is no way that there's not some kind of place where Pirate Software fans do not go around trying to make it hard for people who speak out against him. 100% I believe this.
Coming for them.
It has nothing to do with the dad.
Like, legitimately.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with his dad. Because his dad, like, especially anybody that knew him, like, at Blizzard while they were there, and those of us, like, who know him a little bit better outside of Blizzard, he's normal. He's just a dude. Like, he happens to have been an executive who worked at Blizzard forever. He's a cool guy. Don't get me wrong, but he's not somebody who's going to mess with people. That is not him. He is not
Nice.
like that. He would never do anything like that.
I just wanted to include that last part there because I think
Damn. Well, that kind of was a potential outcome. What we saw from the clip where his dad tells Pirate, "Hey, you did nothing for my birthday. You didn't even say hi. You're an asshole." We kind of saw that from that, that maybe he's trying. No one knows. It's hard to say. I can say one thing for sure. I would not want to be Pirate Software's dad. Jesus, that sounds that that sounds like I'm doing a wink wink type of thing for the world. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that was Quinty on 10 out of 10. Bye.